What's up, guys? My name is Gabe. Welcome back to the Trojan Blade. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is episode 34 of the viewer comment series, the series where you guys send in your questions and comments here on YouTube and Twitter, and they do get answered live on the show. So if you are interested in being featured, make sure you subscribe to the channel here on YouTube and ding that notification bell, and that will help you see whenever I put out a community post. And then on that post, you can put in your comment or question, and then also follow me over on Twitter, where I will have a tweet out asking for your comments and questions as well. So we have a lot to get into, not going to waste any more time. If you guys are enjoying the videos, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you are subscribing to the Trojan Blade Patreon or becoming a channel member, both linked in the description. That does help me do this full time. But having said all of that, let's get into the video. First up, from Paragon Threat over on Twitter, he asks, how likely is it that Tanook Hines will turn a page this season and step up to be a more consistent producer? Or will he break out next year? A little worried about our depth at wide receiver at the moment. Also, how come you show up to the Collie and many things improve? It's a tad sus. Yeah, I've had a lot of you guys asking me to go to every single home game now, and we do have a chance to test it. I am going to be in the Coliseum for the Iowa game, so let's see how that one goes. But to answer your question, yeah, Tanook Hines is not a consistent producer right now. The only two consistent producers we have at wideout are Jacoby and Mekhi. Every single rep he's getting, though, is so important and so valuable. And the thing with the offense this year, we're not wide receiver dependent. Like, we're Mekhi Lemon dependent for sure, but we're utilizing the backs in the passing game. The tight ends have a very big role. Everybody's pitching in this time around, so it's not a make or break deal if Tanook Hines is being a productive wideout in terms of catching the ball. And look, the only thing that matters with the wide receiver room at this point is keeping number 6 healthy. Nothing else matters at this point. So as long as we have that, we are golden. Now, the wide receiver depth for next year, yeah, that's a completely different conversation. You're going to be losing Lemon. You're going to be losing Lane. You're going to be losing Richardson. You're going to be losing Fair. We're going to have to hit the portal pretty hard at that spot, but that's obviously a conversation for a few months from now. Next up, from the man, the myth, the legend, Romero West Coast over on Twitter. One of the coolest guys in the USC community. Go and give him a follow. But he asks, who scores his first touchdown against Notre Dame? And why is it Mekhi, Biletnikoff, Winter, Lemon? So Mekhi is a great choice. For me, though, I'm going to say King Miller pops one on the first drive. We're going to want to run the ball. We're going to want to send a message. Notre Dame's defensive line is going to part like the Red Sea, and King Miller is going to house one from 50 plus. Next up, from Mike Williams over on YouTube, he asks, are we going to continue to see the fiery version of Lincoln Riley? Last week, he showed more passion in the lead up and on the sidelines than he ever has, and the team played the same way. So this is a fantastic question, something that's bothered me about Lincoln for a few years now. Because in 2022, when he came over with Caleb, he was a pretty fiery coach. He was acknowledging the haters on Twitter. He was getting really fired up, particularly in that UCLA game. Like, he showed a ton of passion, and then that went away the next 2 years. I don't know why. But we definitely saw that this week, and the team took on the mentality of the coach. Lincoln knew that he had his back against the wall. He could not afford a loss against Michigan, and our players played the exact same way. So yeah, I hope we see more of that going forward. Many of you who played football will feel the same way when I say this, but when your coach is fired up and clearly gives a shit, it makes you feel the exact same way. It makes you ready to run through a brick wall. So I would love to see this fiery version of Lincoln Riley stay around for the rest of the season. Every game is so important. Every game is going to be a fight. There's no easy games left on the schedule. Northwestern's going to be tough. The Baby Bruins are going to be tough. We need this FU mentality each and every week. All right, next up, from Ben over on Twitter, he asked, do you think our linebackers are athletic enough for us to stay in a base 4-3 against faster teams? It worked against Michigan because they love staying in 12 personnel. Not sure it'll work against the ugly ducklings up north. Fantastic question. And you're absolutely right. It will not work against Oregon. Because what Oregon's going to do, they're going to spread you out. They're going to cover every blade of grass. And you have to play the game horizontally as a defense. You can't be attacking downhill nonstop, because they can expose you at any single point on the field. They can throw it deep. They can use the intermediate game. They can screen you to death. They can run the ball. They have QB run game. So against teams like that are so diverse, so dynamic on offense, yeah, no, you cannot be in a 4-3 the entire time. A game plan like that will work against Michigan. It'll work against Northwestern. You watch this week, it won't even work against the Irish. They're a throw the ball, spread you out kind of team this year. So if we plan on just loading the box and trying to take away the run, I don't think it's going to go very well for us. Next up, from Miles on Twitter, he asks, why has Lincoln Riley's playbook only been screens and RPOs these past weeks? I feel like with Jacoby being such a deep threat along with Mekhi, they should be getting more chances on deeper plays. So, easy answer on that one. Our offensive line is pretty injured. If there's one area that Jade Mayava struggles with, It's when the pocket breaks down and he has to try to extend plays, that's when he makes his worst decisions. So by running screens and RPOs, we are essentially eliminating the opposing linebacker from the play. We're taking him out of it, whatever he chooses, we are throwing it or handing the ball off. It makes things super simple for Jaden. It allows us to get the ball to our athletes in space, and it negates risk tenfold. It protects the offensive line. It wears out the defense having to fly to the ball every single play. And more important than anything, it works. Last year, we cannot run a screen to save our life. This year, we're a very good screen team. So it protects the quarterback, it protects the offensive line, it keeps the defense off balance. If you're a very good screen team, if you're a very good RPO team, you are just daring your opponents to blitz. And the Big Ten is a very blitz-heavy conference. So yeah, I think that's why we've been so successful on those this year, and I would look for that to continue. Now, with the success we had throwing the ball deep against the Irish last year, and their corner room is decimated compared to what they had last season, is that an area we look to target once again? We'll see, but I do think it's going to be more of the same, running the ball, screens, and RPOs. Next up from Ian over on YouTube, he asked, when basketball season starts, will you make content about that? If you guys want to see it, I absolutely will. Let me know down below in the comment section if you want to see hoops coverage on this channel. I put out a few videos for the women's team last year, and they did very well. You guys were very responsive of those. So whether it's the men's team, the women's team, both, make sure you guys are always letting me know what you want to see on this channel. But in addition to the question previous to that one, CGPB on YouTube says USC was able to execute on quick throwing plays against Michigan. Do you think it was an effort to alleviate pressure on the O-line? Already answered that. Yes, I do. But he also asked, is there a defensive counter that Notre Dame could employ? Yeah, so the one way you can affect the screen game, aside from just dominating the offensive line, but that's not really a scheme question, if you're playing pure man coverage across the board, then you can disrupt the screen game. If you have guys crashing down, if you have guys being hyper aggressive, getting into the backfield, cutting Mekhi Lemon off when he does that tunnel jab route. So the more aggressive a defense is, the better they can be against a screen game. Michigan was sitting off pretty much the entire game. They did not trust their secondary with our speed. Notre Dame, I do not see them being so passive. They're going to bring the fight to us. They're going to be playing press man. They're going to be getting hands on our guys at the line. And they're going to be watching our backs for those telltale signs of a screen. Next up from Nick over on Twitter, he asked, is there any chance of making the playoffs if we go 9-3 with close losses to ND and Oregon? A chance? Yes. Is it probable? No. You do not want to have 3 losses heading into the playoff selection process. So if we drop this game to ND, there's no more margin for error. That Illinois game is going to end up being an absolute killer if we cannot get it done in South Bend. Because look, we're 9.5-point dogs. We're not expected to win this game. When you drop that game to Illinois that you absolutely should not have dropped, you made it to where you almost have to be perfect for the rest of the year, because that Oregon game is going to be a toughie as well. And keep in mind, guys, we're still at Nebraska. We still have Iowa at home. We have Northwestern at home. We play the baby Bruins. Like, this is not an easy end of the schedule. So, no, I don't think we make the playoffs at 9-3. Have to keep the loss column to 2. Next up from Caden King over on Twitter, he says, does the rain help or hurt us? And I just pulled up the weather for South Bend on Saturday. Looks like it's going to start raining right around kick, with a precipitation chance of 60%. What I will say, I don't know if it helps us, but I don't think it hurts us as much as it would in previous years. Like, this isn't your Graham Harrell air raid USC, right? We like to run the ball. We do short passes. Jaden Mayava has really big hands. That helps in a situation like this. So it obviously changes the game, but the Irish are the team that wants to chuck the ball downfield, be really super explosive in the passing game. So schematically, I think it would actually hurt them more than us, but they're a lot more used to this sort of thing. Just the kind of kids that they recruit, they're used to this kind of weather. So there's pros and cons for both. I will just flat out say, though, I really hope it does not rain. Next up from Bijan over on YouTube, he says, question on your process. You've mentioned it before that there are licensing challenges to displaying game footage. How is it that other channels seem to get away with this when they do multi-camera play breakdowns? You provide so much great insight. I would love to see you getting X's and O's with us with film. So this is a question I get a ton. And just to clear it up once and for all, there's a few different things that go into this. So with YouTube channels, they're not handled the same way, I guess I'll say. Like if me and Tim over at LAFB, if we upload the same video, I might get a copyright strike, he might not. It's not always a 100% thing. And what happens when you get a copyright strike or a copyright claim? You are not able to monetize that video at all. So any money it makes, it goes directly to the holder of the licensing rights. So like if I put a clip of the game against Michigan and NBC sees it and they flag it and they put a copyright claim on it, nothing bad happens to my channel like would happen on a copyright strike. But with a claim, you aren't able to monetize it, and all the money you make goes directly to NBC. And I have had that happen so many times. It is unbelievable. And this is my full-time job. So when I get a copyright claim on a video and I lose all the money I would make from ad revenue, it's a big, big deal. And it's not really something I can afford to be willy-nilly about. So if you guys are interested in that, I can do that over on Patreon because you don't have those same problems over there. But on YouTube, it's been such a nightmare dealing with copyright strikes, copyright claims. Like, I can show a still image, but getting a clean and quality still image is really, really hard. And yeah, it just doesn't really work. But if you are interested in that, I can either do that on Patreon or do it for members only here on YouTube. So if you do want to see like a film breakdown or anything like that, please do let me know. And I can start doing them and I'll add them to the membership tiers. Next up from Troy's Conquest over on YouTube, he says, say USC goes into South Bend and makes a statement. What do you think our record can be? So when I did my preseason prediction and I had us going 8-4, I said that if we can go into a game like Illinois or a game like Notre Dame on the road and win, that's going to change my outlook for the rest of the season in a positive way, obviously. Now, we couldn't do that against Illinois. It was more of the same. But if we go into South Bend and win in a place we haven't won in since 2011, against a team that's favored by more than 9 points against us, then yeah, I think that dramatically changes what the ceiling for this team could be. Because if we can beat the Irish in South Bend, we can beat anybody on our schedule. That includes Oregon. So what do I think our record can be? 11-1. What do I think it would be? Probably 10-2, but definitely 11-1 is in play. God, that Illinois loss sucks. Imagine the vibes right now had we won that game. We just beat the hell out of Michigan. We're heading into South Bend. God, that game's an absolute bummer. The last up today from Tony over on Twitter. He says, the last time we played Notre Dame in South Bend, we looked like deers in the headlights right from the start. How do we play like we just did and not be overwhelmed by the atmosphere and the moment? So it's going to sound really, really cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason because it's entirely true. You go in embracing the hate, embrace being the villain. We're USC. They hate us, and that's a good thing. Secondly, you have to take it play by play, drive by drive, and be process oriented. Because what happened with Caleb, he felt the weight of the moment. He felt the entire game on his shoulders because it was. In 2023, we didn't have an offensive line. Our wide receivers severely underperformed. It was all on him. There was no process. It was Caleb, go make magic for us. This time around, it's not that way at all. We have a plan. We have an offensive line. We have the backs. We have the tight ends. We have the wideouts. So if you're Jaden Maiava, you go in, you make your reads. You do not try to win the game because you don't have to. This is a true team. That's what we saw against Michigan. So if we can play as one cohesive unit, play physical ball, trust each other to do our jobs, especially in the secondary, be assignment sound, trust what the coaches are calling, trust that the safeties are going to have your back, and just do your job. Extremely simple, extremely typical thing to say. Sounds like coach speak, but guys, it's 100% true. All right, guys, and that is going to do it for episode 34 of the viewer comment series. The Notre Dame game preview is going to be out tomorrow. Very excited to get into that one. If there's any more news, there will be a Trojan update on Friday. And we are going to be getting some fun recruiting news soon. And I am going to have a video on that. So make sure you are locking it in here on the channel. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you get notified every single time I upload. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys being here. You're all awesome. And as always, take care and fight on.